I don't have time to meal prep. I'm flat, I'm exhausted, I don't want to do this, I don't care. And I know that next week is going to roll around and I'm going to feel unprepared and I'm going to feel like crap because I'm eating things that are not good for me. Don't worry, we're here to solve the paradox around why not having time, or rather making time, creates situations like this that snowball and go on forever. So as we start the new year, I wanted to give you the gift of jointly busting some good old myths. And don't worry, this is a friendly, safe space. I have done all of these and thought all of these and said all of these myself. So let's dive in and get started and line ourselves up for success. So picture this, it's 6 o'clock on a Tuesday night, you've just finished work and you're opening the fridge and you thought there'd be leftovers there that you could eat, but someone's eaten them, or you forgot what was in there. And you're blankly looking into the fridge and going, there's nothing here that I can eat, want to eat, or can work with, so I guess I'm gonna have to get takeaway. And this is the thing, right? It's happened to me, I'm sure it's happened to you. It's happening in a lot of families. And the problem is that this is a pattern. If it happens every now and then, it's not an issue. But if it happens repeatedly and is wearing you down, we're gonna talk about some healthy, tough love in today's video. I'm gonna unpack 5 of the biggest problem areas for most people, including myself at times. And we're gonna talk about what to do to get out of them. Because once we bust these myths, we can actually just get on with living life, being happier, being healthier, being more organized. So who the heck doesn't want that, right? You may have heard the Benjamin Franklin quote that if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. And you're like, Emmy, I don't need a history lesson today, but this is important and it is very true, because if we're not getting in the habit of taking a little bit of time earlier, we're never going to break the cycle we're in, and we're not going to change it. In coaching, this is often referred to as a pattern interrupt, meaning that we are stopping what we're doing and changing it. But before we can do that, we have to be honest and aware that what is going on in our life, and these are all real things that happen all the time. So let's unpack myth number 1. So in a recent survey I did, many of you said that the biggest issue you have is not having time and energy to meal plan and meal prep. And I hear you, it's very common. But that is myth number 1, which is I don't have time. And the reality is we never have time for anything. We make time. And this is something that I learned early on when I was doing sports and things like that. And it really does come down to priorities. Now, if we don't have any time at all and takeaway or food delivery is the only option for you, and that fits within your budget, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, holy moly, people have private chefs and all that sort of stuff. But I'm thinking if you're watching this channel, it's probably impacting your finances. And this is where we need to make time so that we can save time later. And this can be a little bit annoying at times, because what it means is that on a Sunday afternoon, when you're exhausted, you've been driving kids around or doing activities all weekend, the last thing you probably feel like is making a plan for next week. But it's a lot like doing a workout or anything else where we go, I'm gonna spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever that is for you. I normally meal plan for the week in under 5 minutes. I usually take my little piece of paper that you've seen many a time, or you can download the free meal planner down in the description below this video. But that's essentially how I do it. It takes me 5 minutes and I do a quick inventory of what I've got on hand, and then I know what I need to add to my shopping list. This does not have to take long, but it does mean that we have to get off the couch. And quite often what I do is I physically get up from my office, my couch, wherever I've been sitting, go to my kitchen, grab my notepad if that's your preferred method of meal planning, and typically I just anchor the activity to the space in the kitchen. So I hear you, you probably don't have time, but if you want to save money on groceries, eat better and waste less money on food and waste less food, then meal planning is going to be a key component of that. The other part to this is a lot of you said, I don't have time for one or the other. So the reality is we don't have to do them at the same time. You don't have to sit down for an hour on a Sunday and do a meal plan and then go to the supermarket and buy all that stuff and then spend 4 hours cooking. That is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about carving out time that works for you so that you can do this. For example, I almost never meal plan and go shopping on the same day. I just know when I'm gonna have time during the week, and that's when I plan to go and do my shop. And my meal plan very often is partially a reverse meal plan, meaning I'm using ingredients that I have on hand for the first 2 or 3 dinners, and then on the day 3 or day 4 I'm going to go grocery shopping, and then I don't have to do them all at the same time. Another important thing to note is that you don't need to prep all of your food for the whole week at the same time. We have to be realistic. So quite often what I do is I cook and prep 2 to 3 days a week, and what that means is that I typically, on a Sunday afternoon, maybe a few hours after I've done the meal plan, I'll do some small prep for lunches for the next day, for example. And if you've been around this channel, you know that I love one for now, one for later, freeze one, meaning that you cook something for dinner tonight maybe, or lunch today, but you make extra so you could have it again tomorrow or the day after. You know, you can split it up over a few days because most things last perfectly fine in a good airtight container in your refrigerator for a couple of days. But the hack is also then to freeze one. So quite often what I'll do on a Sunday, if I don't feel like meal prepping, is I'll look in my freezer and I go, oh, I've got a soup here, I've got a fish curry, all I need to do is boil some rice. So having prepared ahead of time, and by doing a meal prepping session, you can actually catch up and give your future self the gift of a freezer meal, or even prepping a few ingredients. A really important thing about time as well is habits. I've talked before about James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. If you haven't read it yet, it is a great book. I'm not affiliated in any way, but he talks a lot about the majority vote and doing the right thing more often than you're not. So you don't need to eliminate takeaway, just do it less and plan a little bit more. The second part, for me at least, is getting into flow. When I'm low on energy and I really don't feel like it, I know that if I get off the couch and start just meal prepping a few simple things off the plan that I just made, I know that I'm going to get into flow. And all of a sudden, before I blink, it's going to be an hour later and I might have actually got dinner ready for the night, but I might have also gone, I'm going to throw together a quick omelette or frittata for lunches tomorrow while the oven is running anyway, and then you get into flow. So by doing something, you are interrupting the pattern of not doing, and you are getting into flow and you're doing something, and something is always better than nothing. Point number 2 is around feeling like meal prepping has to be perfect rather than just progress or okay or good enough. And what I mean by this is that, you know, you can see all these beautiful things on Pinterest, or you might watch one of my videos when I meal prep like 20 meals in one afternoon or something, and you go, I don't have time for that. It's too hard. I can't. And this is a trap we fall into. It does not have to be perfect. Quite often, the easiest thing to do is to pare it right back and simplify and go, well, what do I need? Okay, for dinners, we are just gonna have some rice with some chicken and some frozen vegetables. Like, sometimes it can be that simple. It doesn't have to be elaborate. You don't need to hop on your phone and look up recipes and things like that, because the reality is that progress over perfection is always going to be your best friend. And this is what I often do, and this is why having a recipe collection is super helpful. Because what I do in my OneDrive, you can use whatever you want, Google or whatever universe you use, but in my case, I have saved all of my recipes into OneDrive, and I have little folders for favorites, quick recipes, dinner ideas and things like that. And by doing it that way, especially those days when you're really low on inspiration, go to your quick dinner idea folder, look it up, and especially if it's things that you will always have on hand. So it really doesn't have to be very complicated. It can be incredibly simple, and sometimes you don't even have to finish the final meal. Sometimes just prepping a few of the components can really help. Let's say, for example, that you were cooking your vegetables and your chicken, and then you just have to do some quick microwave rice tomorrow and dinner will be ready in 10 minutes. So it's not about it being perfect. It's about putting on the table the most nutritious meal that you can afford and have the energy to put together right now. Number 3 is I'm too tired after work to cook. And whether you're a student or working, this is the same thing, right? So it just basically means that you're probably feeling exhausted. I have those days too. I have those days when I just want to sit down and I don't want to do anything at all. But here's the thing, by meal planning and meal prepping when you have higher energy, or if you can force yourself off the couch on a Saturday or Sunday or whatever works for you, do the plan, plan ahead for the week so that you know I'm probably going to be pretty tired on Wednesday night after that thing, and also I'm going to have to pick the kids up from that activity, so we're going to get home pretty late. It would be great to have a meal ready, like a lasagna or something that I can just chuck in the oven, or even better, someone else in the house can put it in the oven and get that going so that it's ready to eat when we come home. And this is one of those things where I always come back to when I don't feel like doing something. I go, will future me thank me for it? Will future me thank me for going for that run or doing that rep in the gym? Will future me thank me for preparing an extra portion of this meal, or even 2 portions? So in my case, my husband and I can both eat and no one has to cook that night. And that's the reality. I think it's really important to be kind to both your current self, but also your future self. And more than anything, I also want to touch on this. I'm not a nutritionist, but it could very well be that your fatigue or you feeling tired can come from a range of things, and it could actually be a nutritional or something like that. So obviously go chat to your doctor, do your blood tests and work all that out if it's something that you're suffering with. But if you're finding that your day is just kind of dropping from 3 o'clock onwards and then 6 o'clock rolls around and you really don't want to cook dinner, don't cook dinner at 6 o'clock. Prep it ahead of time another day and go, oh, thank you, past self. Amazing. I'll just pull this out of the fridge and quickly reheat it and everyone will be happy. On the note of being tired, I had a really good chat to a friend of mine the other week, and she actually plans for takeaway every single Friday. They have a busy family, kids at activities and things like that. And she knows, and neither she nor her husband will want to cook on a Friday night. So they have made Friday night takeaway night as a standard in their family, which is super simple, right? But on the flip side, I have another friend, and what they do every single Friday is make your own pizza. So she has basic ingredients like tomato paste, pizza toppings and things like that in her fridge and freezer pretty much at all times. And then all she has to do on a Friday is pull out the frozen pizza bases, and everyone tops it with what they want, so no one can whinge and say that they didn't like it. So by creating theme nights like that, especially if you have a busy family life, it will just take away the fatigue, it will take away the decision making. And if you know that you just got to stay on top of things and have that in your fridge, freezer or pantry, all of a sudden it's like a meal a week you don't have to think about at all. And there's nothing wrong with takeaway, just make sure that you're getting it as a planned thing, not as your everyday default because you didn't plan. So we're at point number 4, which is I have to do it all by myself or it will all fall on me. A version of that. And believe you me, we've had conversations like that in this household. I've whinged because my husband doesn't cook as much or something. But here's the reality. Most families have a driving person that is more responsible for shopping, meal planning, and cooking. It could be that you're in a household where it's very divided. So for example, we have a rule in this household that whoever cooked doesn't clean up after. So that way, you know, it kind of evens out. And I know a few of my friends have similar arrangements as well. Like my friend is a really great cook. Her husband doesn't like cooking. He loves her cooking and he doesn't mind cleaning up at all. So this is the reality, and this is where we got to look at the things that we don't like or that we resent the most and work out ways to fix that in our family. And the reality is that we need to ask for help. So for example, we have a shared shopping list in our phones. We use the Alexa app, and my husband and I have a shared shopping list in there where we both add items to. So whilst I do most of the grocery shopping because I like it and I often film it and it's something I don't mind doing at all, but I'm not responsible for collating the entire list. If there's something missing, if there's a snack he wants, if there's a fruit he wants, he is responsible for adding it to the list. And if he didn't add it, it's not going to get bought that week and he'll have to wait till the next time I go to the store. So we share responsibility for compiling the list, but I do most of the shopping. And that is something I do by choice because I don't mind it at all. When it comes to meal planning, it can be a really good activity to hook onto your plan for the week. So if you and your partner, or if you have a busy family, however it works in your household, if Sunday is a good time for you to look at the week ahead, you can actually hook meal planning onto that. And you can be like, okay, we're going to have date night on that night, so no one has to cook. Okay, you're going to be working late that night, but I won't, so I'll cook that day. And this is where you can really start building meal planning into the conversation. Now, when it comes to cooking, most families or most constellations will be that one person is a slightly better cook and or enjoys cooking more than the other person. In our household, we're both good cooks. I love my husband's signature dishes, but I like cooking more than he does. So it means that I will cook more often, especially because I have a YouTube channel about it. So I don't mind it, and I like trying new recipes and things like that, but I don't want it to fall on me all the time. So in this household, we cook dinner about 3 to 4 times max, because we will often have leftovers. There'll be every second week or so we'll eat out. But let's say we cook dinner 3 to 4 nights a week. 1 to 2 of those will be cooked by my husband, and I will usually cook the rest. And we have a chat ahead of time and we look at our work schedules. So we work out that the days that he's cooking, for example, is not when he's working late, or vice versa. And the same usually goes for lunches as well. I will often prep something on a Sunday that will get us through the first half of the week, like a zucchini slice or an omelette or frittata or something like that, or a big batch of soup. And then we'll sort of, lunches will sort of be improvised and shared. My husband makes an amazing omelette, by the way, and quite often when we don't know what to make, that's our go-to for lunch, especially if we're working from home. Now, I don't have kids myself, but I have several friends with teenage children who have their kids with a dedicated day a week or a day a fortnight when they cook. And I personally think this is great. When I was a kid, we had to be involved in the cooking to some extent in our family, and you obviously adjust this based on the child. So for example, a 16-year-old would be fully capable to boil some pasta, mix in some sauce, cut up some vegetables. That is not something that is too hard to ask from a person of that general age. With a smaller child, you know, you might just want to get them, while you're cooking and prepping, get them involved rather than watching their tablet. Say, look, your job this week is to help me cut up these vegetables, or stir the pot when I do this. And whilst it might sometimes take a little bit longer and you're tired and grumpy after work or something, this is what trains, this is like the putting in the time now, so that your future self will go, oh, that's nice, my son just made me lasagna. Future editing Emmy here, bringing you tip number 5, because my camera stopped recording for some reason, but this is a really important one, and it is the most common excuse, I think, which is I will start when ... I'll start when I have more time. I'll start when life is calmer. I'll start when I feel like it more. I start when I have more energy. And as we all know, this is a common excuse when it comes to exercise, meal planning, budgeting, pretty much anything in life. And look, I hear you. I am the same. I don't always feel like it. I don't always want to. And I use this excuse myself from time to time. But the reality is, like we talked about before, future you will be so thankful for any little effort you do now to make life easier down the track. So what do we actually do to bring this into life? Firstly, I want to include a caveat here. If you are going through a health issue, if you've just had a baby and you're exhausted, if stuff is happening in your life and you simply do not have headspace to do this right now, give yourself the good grace to be kind to yourself, ease off a little bit, lean on other people for support a little bit more, and come back when you are ready to do so. Don't flog yourself and add meal planning to your world and make yourself feel bad for not doing it if you're seriously not well or not coping very well right now. So please be kind to yourself. That's the main thing that this channel talks about. But I am gonna guess that you're watching this video because you want some real tips on how to level up your meal planning and stop telling yourself these excuses. So what can you do? And the simple answer is start small. Start small and consistent. Make sure that you maybe start by just planning your lunches for the week, and that is it. Or plan and make some healthy snacks and let dinner and other things take care of itself. Or maybe you batch cook twice a week and start with that, and then fill out the rest with other little things that you can think of. Or do takeaway if that works for you. But starting small and starting right now is the thing that your future self will 100% thank you for down the track. So don't fall in the trap of not wanting to right now. Force yourself just a little bit to do that extra rep, to do the metaphorical exercise that it is to set up a plan, and give yourself the good grace of nutritious, healthy food in the future, and have your life just run that little bit better. But it certainly is a habit, and you build it over time. It will never be perfect for me, even if I do it every single week. And just remember that book that I mentioned before, Atomic Habits. Give it a read or a listen if you haven't checked it out yet, because it can really help when it comes to starting small and being consistent. So before we wrap up today, please let me know down there in the comments which of these 5 myths, or rather excuses, are most common in your world or in your household. I have done all 5 of these, and I still do all 5 of these regularly, and I have to remind myself, because I'm only human, that all we can do is to pause and start over. We have the opportunity every single week to make different choices, which is so exciting, because even if we've had a couple of weeks or over the holiday season we did not meal plan at all, now we're back on deck and we can make different choices for next week, which I think is what is so exciting about planning and moving forward and giving you and your family the best opportunity for a successful, harmonious year ahead.